something that people didn't expect. Now with this, I mean, we had people reaching out to us saying, hey, you guys going to do that again? And we did. We got involved in it very quickly and were able to bring back, and, people coming back very, very appreciative to just be back and be safe and sound. And it's just the type of thing where the danger, look, Iron Dome is great. It doesn't stop every rocket. I mean, that's just the reality. And there is damage being done in the state of Israel because of what Iran's doing. And so, but then you just have, we have young kids. It's tough to just deal with that situation, even apart from the danger. So everyone was really appreciative. And so I want to thank, we have Kevin Guthrie from the Florida Division of Emergency Management here. We respond to a bunch of different things in the state of Florida, hurricanes being the number one, but we've also done things like do these rescues. We're doing all the immigration, huge tasks that fall on our emergency management team, and Kevin does a remarkable job doing that. We also have Andy Wilson, Gray Bull Rescue Foundation, so there are partners in helping to effectuate these rescues, and we've partnered with different groups over the years. Gray Bull basically had spun off of a group that we had worked with, and we have Andy Wilson here, but those guys did a great job. We're also joined by Layla Collins. She's the wife of our senator here in Tampa, Jay Collins. Jay's over there getting it done, and I think that you talk about somebody that's done a great job as a senator in Florida. He's got a tremendous record. He's also basically, almost like an action figure in terms of him springing into action, running into the fire, and helping folks in their time of need. So Jay and Gray Bull have worked very closely with Kevin and our team to do this. Look, this is not something that is easy to do. There's logistical challenges. It was not an easy voyage for these folks because they're having to get on a cruise ship, then they're having to wait in Cyprus, and then all the things that go in between that. Was difficult, and it's not as simple as just getting on a flight in Tampa and flying to like Chicago, right? So there were a lot of logistical challenges, but they were able to do that. So to have, this is the second plane load of folks that have now come in to Tampa. I want to thank Tampa Airport. Tampa was the place where we did the Israel rescue flights back in 2023. And they've worked very, very well with the state of Florida to be able to make this a seamless process. The reality is there's going to be more folks that are going to be rescued. This is an ongoing effort. I know that there's potentially some other states that may want to get in the game at this point. The reality is that there's definitely a need for more. I know we helped really get people out of Israel initially, which is important. I don't know when the Ben Gurion Airport's going to open up again, and it may not open up for some time. So there's going to be some need. So this is part of an ongoing effort for us to serve the people of the state of Florida. But I know that talking with parents who had kids over there, many of them are school-age kids, college-age kids, you're worried. It's a panic situation to see what's happening over there. Know your son or daughter is stuck potentially over there. But then to have the state of Florida really lead the effort to bring them back to safety. First of all, it's the right thing to do. But second of all, it just brings huge relief to so many families throughout the state of Florida. I was talking to some of these folks coming in, they're starting at Florida State on Monday or going to UF and all this other stuff. So this was really something that I think was very personal to a lot of people throughout our state. And I think people should be proud that you have a state that when they see a problem, when they see a challenging set of a challenging mission, that we don't shy away from it and pass the buck. We step up and we lead and we get the job done. So expect more of these to happen. And I don't know what's going to happen in terms of the length of this conflict, but I think that the people that are stuck over there, particularly our Florida students and Florida residents, probably don't want to be stuck over there and just have to wait out the balance of it, which is a shame because you're never going to see any history like you can see when you go to Israel. It's amazing. I was just, we were doing the aerospace stuff over in France, and, there's some historic stuff going back centuries, more history, much older country than the U.S., and we have some history here. I used to represent St. Augustine. You go back, hundreds of years, but I mean, that's history that goes back thousands of years. It's really been the foundation for Western civilization. You wouldn't have it in the United States of America if you didn't have what happened there over many years. And so it's a unique place, and it's really something that I think of any place anyone goes that really is a inspirational, spiritual, even life-changing experience. I would say it's probably Israel in my judgment. And so, you know, it's sad that they're not going to be able to experience that like they should. But I do think that there will come a time where they will be able to do that. All right, we're going to hear from Senator Collins. I also have Josh Hammer, who's a Florida resident. He was over there. He was part of the group that had been rescued, and he's going to say a few words as well. So, Kevin?
Good morning. Thank you for being here with us this morning. Thank you, Governor, for your steadfast leadership as the governor was engaged in this from Paris. He was constantly talking to us and asking us, you know, what's going on. And we're very, very happy that we have brought in the second flight this morning. Before I get into the prepared points, I'm just going to tell you, when we get into questions and answers, we are not going to talk at all about tactics, about how we're moving people inside of Israel and all that. For their safety, our safety, the team safety of Gray Bull Rescue, we will not talk about that. So I just want to make sure that you understand that from the very beginning. Florida is committed to protecting residents of the state no matter where in the world they are. In times of crisis, Floridians can count on the swift action and strong leadership of Governor DeSantis and the state emergency response team when we are called upon. Our emergency response infrastructure allows us to act decisively when crises occur, even when those crises are thousands of miles away. Under Governor DeSantis' leadership, the Florida Division of Emergency Management, alongside our state and private partners, in this case most notably the Florida Department of Transportation with Jared Perdue, as well as our contract vendors, have launched a coordinated operation to assist Floridians seeking to evacuate Israel amidst ongoing hostilities. Central to that is obviously Gray Bull Rescue that we have partnered with. We are excited to partner with them again. We have conducted 2 rescue flights and 1 cruise ship mission that have allowed fellow Floridians and Americans to reunite with their families. As of today, we have flown over 300 individuals, and we have put on a passenger ferry over 1,100 more and facilitated that. When our residents are in need, the state of Florida is ready to come together and take action. Evacuation flights are still ongoing as a part of Florida's unprecedented mission to bring our residents home. This operation will continue 24/7 with the safety and well-being of Americans and Floridians as our top priority. Again, I want to extend my gratitude to the brave team members on the ground, which include Senator Jay Collins, Gray Bull's CEO, Brian Stern. They have been there for about 5 days, about 120 hours, give or take, and they have had very, very little rest. Gray Bull and our state private partners have just done yeoman's work. But I also want to call out 2 of my staff specifically. My staff has been doing a great job. There is obviously a 7-8 hour time difference depending on what country we're dealing with to get individuals out, and they have been working literally 24/7. So I want to make sure that I give a call out to my Deputy Executive Director, Keith Pruitt, who is former Army as well and has an extensive history in the Middle East. He is over there. He is helping out. And then also my Chief of Staff, Jake Felder, who has been a part of the Birthright program in the past. He has been there, done that. He knows a lot of the ins and outs about it. And he has been forever, I'll be forever indebted to him for the leadership and the knowledge that he brings forward to this particular mission. Again, Florida stands with its residents. In peace and in crisis, we will always rise to the challenge. This is not just a rescue mission, it is a reflection of Florida's values of safety, courage, and resilience. Governor, again, thank you for your leadership that you do. I am super proud to carry out this mission.
Okay, Josh? Just introduce yourself, tell them where you're from.
Sure. So I did not expect to be here, of course. My name is Josh Hammer. I live in Hallandale Beach in the Broward County area, but I'm an editor at Newsweek. I host a show and write a weekly syndicated column. Did not necessarily expect to be in this position when my wife, my daughter, my father-in-law, and I flew to Israel about a week and a half ago or so. We were there to go to my wife's cousin's wedding. I was going to join part of a group trip, and you know, kind of all. it kind of all went down the drains, of course, a little bit. And I guess just to kind of give you a little bit of a personal experience here, and then I'll talk a little bit about Gray Bowl and Florida and all that there. So we were staying in the center, in the broader Tel Aviv area when the IDF operation in Iran started last Thursday evening. And, you know, I kind of, as a political commentator, as an analyst, I kind of have done a lot of kind of Monday morning quarterbacking. Did I get it right? Should I have foreseen this coming? President Trump had given the 60-day deadline on negotiations. You know, they say to take President Trump seriously, not literally. In this case, perhaps literally might have been the better course of action, because day 61 is when the bombs started dropping. In any event, there we decided to spend a few days basically trying to wait it out there. And by wait it out, I think that you basically have to understand the following, which is you're essentially living on pins and needles for the sirens to go off, and then you have 90 seconds to 2 minutes to basically take, you know, in our case, our 6-month-old baby, just run to the bomb shelter. And another key point here is, you know, the Israelis have dealt with all sorts of mortar, rocket fire, and so forth from Hamas since they took over Gaza back in 2007. But we're dealing here not with these lower-level Scud missiles type mortars. We're dealing here with Iranian ballistic missiles. These are no joke. So the turning point for me personally, as a father first and foremost, was last Sunday evening into Monday morning, where there was a neighboring town in the Israeli center called Petah Tikva, where there were at least 2 individuals tragically who died while they were in the bomb shelter. So the bomb shelter did not protect them because the ballistic missile was a direct hit. You know, Israel will figure out their missile defense. That's a conversation perhaps for tomorrow, not for today. But that was kind of my impetus to say, okay, we need to figure out how to get the heck out of here there. Not an easy thing to do, by the way. As someone who is not just Jewish, but an adamant supporter of the Jewish state, I literally wrote a book on this 3 months ago. The governor blurbed this book quite graciously, in fact, Israel and Civilization. So this is near and dear to me. So getting out in the middle of a war zone is not my inclination per se, but again, thinking first and foremost as a father to a beautiful 6-month-old girl was really what we were thinking of here. So that's how I came across Senator Collins. I saw him tweet about this Gray Bowl operation. One thing leads to another. I get in touch with Senator Collins and Gray Bowl, and we start this marathon journey out. And, you know, we're probably going to laugh about it one day, right? I mean, we'll tell our daughter how her first passport stamp is Jordan, of all countries. Israel does not stamp your passport. That's the context here. So, so we had to physically cross the Jordan, you know, not necessarily on anyone's bingo card, as you would say there, right? You know, unexpected night in Cyprus. We end up at a nice beach. I mean, the whole week has just been a total blur. I feel like I'm not even here right now physically. It's you know, thank God that the Jewish Sabbath starts tonight, because we really desperately need that rest and that sleep. But I guess I would be remiss if I didn't emphasize here. God bless everyone here. Thank you guys so much. It's absolutely incredible that the state of Florida leads time and time again on these operations there. I have no idea why other states don't seem to kind of jump all in as well, but it's just yet another reminder that we are so blessed and privileged and honored to live in the greatest state in the country, the free state of Florida, and blessed to be governed by the greatest governor in this country, Governor Ron DeSantis, who is the greatest friend to the Jewish people and the Jewish state of Israel of any governor in this country, bar none, by far. So God bless you, Governor. God bless Senator Collins, who's become a friend, a wonderful, incredible man. You know, Senator Collins, the first word that I think of when I see him, actually, to borrow the loan word from Yiddish, is mensch. He's a genuine mensch, just a good man. This is a former Army Green Beret who just dives into the thick of it there to get us across the border, to do this, do that. Unbelievable stuff. So God bless this amazing state, and we're just really happy to be home safely. So thank you all very much.
Well, we're going to continue the operations. I think everybody has worked really, really hard. This is something that when these operations began, we didn't necessarily know what was going to happen immediately, and you kind of go roll with the punches and react. But it was pretty clear that we need to be in the game, that there were people that needed our help, and our Florida citizens were there, and they needed to be rescued. So thanks to everybody involved. We'll have more to come. But you saw everybody how relieved they were when they were coming off that plane. I mean, that's just genuine appreciation for people, you know, stepping up and caring about them. Okay, any questions?
According to Gray Bowl, there could be as many as 6,000 people looking to evacuate by this weekend. Is it possible to safely and quickly evacuate that many people?
We will, whatever is possible, we will likely be able to do. We always just find a way. Now, I think that it's not going to be probably all Floridians of that 6,000, and we're not, even though we're focused on bringing people back to Florida because that's our state, There are people on that. I mean, there was a family that had like 4 kids under 5, right? That were going back to, I think, New York or New Jersey. We're not going to turn somebody away as a fellow American. So our focus is on communicating with Floridians, getting them. But when there's other people that are fellow countrymen, we're going to help that as well. So it's a Florida focus mission, but we're not going to be in a situation where we're telling somebody, well, you're not a Florida resident, so you do. And even the people, like, I bet you everyone on this plane who's not a Florida resident spends time in Florida. I can guarantee you that.
Governor, do you have any idea how many Floridians are still trapped overseas that need to get home?
Well, we know what people have communicated with Kevin and DEM and Graybull. Do you want to give that number? Or?
It's changing every
Yeah, it changes. It's a very, the situation's in flux. But we did get, so you had college students that were over there. We work with the universities, identify them, and so many of them have been brought home, others are en route. Then you had the folks, the young people that were on this Israel Birthright program. So generally students, high school, college age, I would say, is probably most likely. And a lot of those folks are in the mix as well. But it's a very fluid, dynamic situation.
You were talking to the passengers and greeting them as they come in. What kind of stories were they telling you about what they went through?
Well, one, they were just thankful. Every one of them, genuine gratitude. I mean, it was not, this is not for the cameras. Like, these folks had a sense of relief. They were in a difficult predicament, and they were very, very thankful that the state of Florida had their back. They were thankful for people like Senator Collins. They were thankful for Graybull. And just that genuine appreciation was something, you can't fake that. I mean, that was real. And it was just the sense that they were in a difficult situation. And particularly when you have young kids. I mean, Josh is talking about a 6-month-old. You saw some of these other kids. That changes the dynamic in terms of how you view these things when you're in a difficult situation. If it's just you, that's one thing. But when you start talking about having somebody that's 2 years old, 6 months old, 5 months old, or 5 years old, you are going to do whatever you can to get them to safety. And so I think particularly for the families, there was just a real sense of relief. They don't have to worry about making sure their 4-year-old is ducking for covering when the sirens go off.
You talked a little bit about the difficult situation. I know we'd mentioned we wouldn't talk about tactics, but what has the relationship with DEM and Graybull been like? How easy has it been, or difficult has it been to get these people out?
Well, DEM and Graybull, I mean, we're obviously, we chose them to be leading this. They're doing a great job. I would say that it's not, look, it's just a difficult situation, right? When that airport is closed, you have limited options at that point. And so a lot of these folks went to Cyprus and then flew direct from Cyprus. So it's just logistically challenging. But I do think that we have had cooperation with the Israeli government, and they've been really good partners in this. And look, this isn't our first rodeo, right? I mean, we did this after October 7th, 2023. We were able to bring back many hundreds, close to 1,000 folks, mostly from Florida, but again, not all. There were people from all over who were just in a really difficult pickle, and we're really glad to have some relief. So I would say, it's, as I said in my opening remarks, the most logistically challenging rescues we have done. We've done them in Haiti, we've done them in Israel, but just because it's, Hamas was one thing, and that was obviously bad. But when you have the Iranian mullahs, the #1 terror state in the country, in the world, firing all these barrage of missiles, you also know that, I mean, we know the neighborhood, right? And like, we could say we have good relations with the Jordanian government or whatever, but it's not exactly the preferred course for some of the folks who are having to flee there. So there's just those challenges, but I think everyone's worked well together. I think the Israeli government's worked well with us, and I think that certainly Graybull has done well. And these folks, I mean, you saw some of them come in, they've got Graybull stickers on now. They probably didn't know what Graybull was a week ago, and now they're wearing Graybull stickers. And so I think that that's something that's very, very meaningful. And I will say also, a lot of genuine appreciation for the state of Florida, for Kevin and Florida DEM, and for our office, which we appreciate. But I'll tell you, a lot of those folks are like, thank God for Senator Jay Collins, that he was really mover and shaker and not afraid to go into to difficult situations to be able to help his fellow Floridian and fellow Americans. And you saw that for sure.
Are you asking other states to join in this effort and help?
Well, it's not for me to ask. I think other states can do what they want. And I will say, the reality is when you're talking about this conflict opening up in Israel, there's only certain states where you're likely to have a critical mass of people from. That's just the reality. Florida, we're near the top of the list, if not the top of the list, partially, just based on our demographics. And it's not just folks that are Jewish. I mean, we had a Christian church group that was over there. As I said, I mean, you're never going to see more historic sites to be able to go and just open the Bible and you can point to what's being put in the Bible. I mean, it's really incredible. And if you haven't done it, you should definitely do it. So to be able to see those sites. So we have church groups. We have young Jewish students who are on this birthright. Some of our Jewish students who are studying abroad, and students who aren't Jewish who are over there in Israel. And it's just really, really a big deal to be able to play a role in helping them out. So I'm thankful for folks springing into action. This is not easy to pull off. I mean, I can tell you the way government operates in some situations, it's not easy. Some states may not have a critical mass, and then other states just may not be able to handle emergency response the way we do. And for good reason. I mean, we need to do more emergency response in Florida because we have to face more emergencies given our tropical climate and geography. And so I don't begrudge some state maybe in the middle of the country that doesn't have Kevin's operation in place. If our administration was in the middle of the country and not in Florida, we would have a different emergency management footprint. But we've really leaned into the mission here in Florida across a wide variety of instances. And Florida DEM, I mean, they've been involved in everything from hurricane response, they've been involved in illegal alien transport, they've been involved in rescues. Anytime we have, they were involved in people that got the monoclonal antibodies during COVID. We set up these mobile clinics. That was Florida Division of Emergency Management that did that. That wasn't the Department of Health. The Department of Health staff did, but these guys were there getting it done, and we were putting up sites within 24 hours, I think, at the time. And you could talk to people to this day. People come up to me and say if it wasn't for that monoclonal, they don't know that they would have made it. So it is a testament, I think, to what we've been able to do in Florida to have really, really good professionals, very, very much. And Kevin, to his credit, he never says we can't, right? Like that. He knows, don't tell me you can't. He knows, find a way to do it. And so I don't even have to tell him. He just knows, okay, here's the mission. It may not be a straight line. It may not be easy, but we will find a way to get the job done. And that's really, I think, the can-do attitude you need. And if you had that attitude in every government agency around this country, people would have much more confidence in their state, local, and federal governments. And so I just appreciate seeing it in action yet again. And we were doing the start of hurricane season. Kevin and I did a press conference, and I said, I hope for Floridians, I hope this is the last time you see us on camera together for the rest of hurricane season, because we don't want to have any more hurricanes, particularly on the west coast of Florida. We need a breather. It'd be nice to have that 10-year breather that we had last decade from 06 to 2016. But here we are again, and we have an emergency situation that we're responding to. So hopefully we'll get everybody back safely. Hopefully this conflict will be resolved favorably, and hopefully at that point everyone will be able to enjoy July, August, September, October without having to see Kevin Guthrie on TV with me giving updates about the latest emergency. So thanks everybody that's been involved, and we'll continue to provide updates as more people are rescued. Thank you.